When you know that you in here cooking, there's nothing that's gonna spoil your broth. 2 times for the black women, because they are living in the purpose. Why would I give somebody the access to do business at the level that I do business if I want them to do business for me?
Yeah.
And why sell the cow when you can sell the milk forever?
That part.
Like, I'm over here paying $300, $400 for somebody to do something that literally takes me a file submission and an email.
Yeah.
So it's just like, dang, bro, that's it?
Yeah.
Like, that's all it was? Why is it so hard for me to learn this information? Because they made it hard. Of developed countries, we are the worst education. And that's on purpose.
You're so smart.
But it's like, but like all of that.
Necessary.
With Tifani Sage.
Next, 2017, you were an employee, based on my research. In 2021, you were a business owner. What did you make sure was in place before you made that jump?
We gonna keep going back to the same answer. I it's so funny that it's always the same answer. It's always God. My belief in God wasn't there in 2017.
Okay.
It wasn't there in 2019. It was there in 2020 when I got up that mountain and it was like lightning struck. It was like my entire world changed in the matter of moments. I asked and I was completely ready to receive whatever it was, and it happened. And after that, you could never stray me from my path again.
Wow.
It was literally that simple. And that's like, I battled things like imposter syndrome. I've battled things like being unsure of myself and questioning if this is the path I'm supposed to be on. But every time that I go back to that place and I stand in the same spot and I have the same commune with God that I did at that spot, that was what I needed in order to be the best business person. That was what I needed to be the best version of myself, not only for myself, but for my community, for my partner, for the people that rely on me, for those that see me as somebody that can be inspiring to others. That is what I needed to do in order to sustain the blessing. I needed to get closer to God.
Oh,
So
wow.
in 2020, 2021, everything beyond that, 2020 was really the year. In 2017, I wasn't there. I remember living in Indiana, and I remember one day
Wait, isn't that where you're from? Oh, shit.
what part of Indiana? Oh, okay, I was working in Bloomington.
Oh, yeah.
I was working at Bloomington. So I remember working there, and I remember waking up in the bed and I was crying. I remember bawling my eyes out because I knew that this is not what God had for me.
Yeah.
And I had quit my job. Like 2 weeks, put in a 2 weeks notice, it was over. Like, that was the most irrational job quit I've ever done. And that was 2018 going into 2019. 2019, yes. So when I moved back to California and I moved back and I had all these situations that were already there for me, and then going up this mountain and asking God to remove it all, and God removed it all. It was just like I was empty.
Yeah.
And he's like, what can you do with an empty vessel? Pour into it. It is ready to receive. You can't pour water into a full vessel and expect for all the things that you're trying to get poured in with are supposed to be like, it's all going to overflow. It's all going to be too much. But when you empty yourself, when you truly let it all go, and anything that's not supposed to be there, you do your renovation, your spring cleaning.
Yeah.
We watch these like home renovation shows. So they're like, hey, we got this home. We got $10,000 that we're going to rework the kitchen for $10,000. And then they start digging into the kitchen and be like, hey, you got dry rot in the wall. It's going to cost you another $1,500, but it's going to be better than the way that it was by the time that we're done here. And they're going through all these, like, hey, your plumbing got some messed up fixtures. You have some problems with your plumbing. It's going to cost you another $2,000. And they were like, oh, well, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But we going to have to do it. And then at the end result, they might be $15,000 above budget, but they see that kitchen.
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, this was so worth it. Apply that to yourself.
I love that analogy.
Apply that to yourself. Yo, I want to be this prominent director of photography, producer, director, all these things. But I have all these other things standing in my way. Like, yo, you're going to lose out on this $60,000 a year opportunity because you can't do that while pursuing all these opportunities that are happening between the hours of 9 and 5, Monday through Friday. Like, you're not going to be able to do both. You're going to have to pick one.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that's a lot of money. That's not a lot. That's an opportunity that I'm missing out on.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do that. All right, bro, let's do it. All right, cool. So now you're sitting here on empty, right? Like, oh, bro, that's 60 bands out of my account that I'm getting regularly, and then God blesses you with something.
Yeah.
God gives you an opportunity. I remember when I was in my first year of doing entrepreneurial endeavor. I was still living with my parents. I got a phone call one day from my homegirl Effa.
Mm-hmm.
And Effa was like, yo, we have a camera operator that can't make it to this job.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be for about 10 to 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Cincinnati. I know it's last minute, but can you get on a plane? Mind you, I'm working and doing photography gigs for like $200, $300
Yeah.
like per session. And I'm like, yo, I really need to get up on one. I need a blessing right now. And she opened a door for me that put 5 figures in my account right then and there. 5 figures in my account right then and there. And it wasn't about the money. It was about the blessing.
Yeah.
It was about the opportunity that somebody gave me to open a door so that I can continue to receive. It gave me my first play. It was my first break. Effa Akuteka, when
shout
you're
out to
watching this, thank you.
And
Thank you.
your obedience as well.
Sure. And it's just like when you submit to the plan,
Ooh.
submit to the plan. Stop thinking that you have a plan. You don't have a plan.
Ooh.
It's like you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bro. Because you're going to be upset when
Yeah.
that thing hits you with a curveball and you're like, yo, I thought that we had an agreement. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
God, what we doing? And God's like, just chill. Just know that it's coming. And when you get that phone call, just be ready. It was probably like 2 or 3 days before we actually needed to go shoot the job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to whatever I have for the next 2 weeks canceled.
Yeah.
I had stuff that I'm calling people like, yo, I can't make that no more. I'm not going to this no more. Yo, this photo shoot, we're going to have to move it back. I can't do it no more.
Mm-hmm.
I literally can't. And I got on a plane in 3 days, went to Cincinnati for 14 days and filmed for GoDaddy. My first like big break as an operator was the Icons of Cincinnati under James Fair and Effa Akuteka for Casual Films. And that was literally my first step into being full time.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, yo, somebody dropped out. This is your moment. Go get your blessing.
Yeah.
Say less. I'm so obedient to the plan. Say less. Hey, I got to leave to Cincinnati for 2 weeks. I'll see y'all when I see y'all.
Wow.
And it was over. It was over. I got on a plane and I was in Cincinnati and I was out there working and I was like, wow, I'm really here working. Who knew?
That, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
What's a couple standout hard boss lessons that you learned on the job of being the CEO?
So being the owner and operator in Bear Vision, I have had to learn a lot of hard lessons as it relates to personnel management, as it relates to how I allow people to treat my people. You know, like it's one thing to be in an industry that has preconceived notions, like, you know, like entertainment industry, like people are jerks or people are assholes or whatever. It's one thing for it to be a thing. It's another thing for you to allow it to be a thing.
Wow.
And I remember on a project that I was working on, one of my first projects, Just Friends, that was with Richard Obasi, Monica Edelhoff, Antrell Terry, all of my homies at Bear Vision. And there was a moment that our first AD had a situation that she brought to a producer, and the producer says, well, if you want to work in this industry, then you better get used to that because that's how it is. And I had to pull him to the side. I'm like, yo, bro, don't talk to my people like that, bro. Like, it's one thing, like, we pulling up here and we're doing this work. Like, we're doing the late night hours. Like, you don't need to talk to my people like that.
Yeah.
So you like, and I had to give the ultimatum, like, you talk to my people like that, bro, we'll walk. And I've had to stand on business behind everything that I've said from that point moving forward. I don't allow people to talk to my people any kind of way. It's okay that you got things that you like as far as respect is concerned, but I need you to respect my peoples, especially the below the line crews. It's a certain reason why I was called to be able to do producer work, because I genuinely care about the people that have to show up and do this work. So like to show up and have to set up cameras and set up lights and operate sound equipment and get the coffee, those people are people.
Yeah.
Those people have lives. Those people have, like, there's stress that comes with being a below the line person. And below the line is just everything that's behind the camera that makes everything work.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't treat them people with respect, I can't have you, bro.
Wow.
I don't care about how much I like the story. I don't care about how much I feel like we're going to be able to win all types of awards. If you're not treating your crew right, you're not working with me. And I will advocate for my people 100% of the time. I will advocate for anybody that comes into my section that wants to work on camera department or sound department or lighting, because as a director of photography, it's my responsibility. But as a producer, I'm in the room. I'm in the room talking to the people that are going to be like, well, you know, we could just send a PA at 3 o'clock in the morning. You're going to send a human being at 3 o'clock in the morning to go pick up a van, and they're going to have to work for 12 hours. And then they're going to be the person that has to go return that van. So now their 12-hour day just became 20. And you're paying them what, $250?
Wow.
Like, come on, bro. Like, let's not play with that PA stuff, bro. PAs are the lifeblood of production. They are the reasons why. And if you are anything in production, you better have been a PA first.
Yeah.
Because you have to respect the game. You have to understand. I was a van PA, driving people around at all hours of the night, returning the van at 3 in the morning, having to wake up, do it again on another job. Like, it is not easy being a production assistant. And they just unionized. Like, they just found a way to get everybody together and be on the same terms so production assistants are the lifeblood. And everything that comes after that is because you understand how to be a good PA. And if you understand how to be a good PA, you should be treating PAs with respect.
Yeah.
And that goes across the board for every department. You should be treating your crew with respect, but people above the line and people below the line have expectations. And when their expectations aren't met, then they come with whatever personal gripes that they have about, oh, well, this person, when I was a PA, I used to get, like, I don't care about what it was when
that,
you
like,
were.
trauma, the throwing, like, not the generational trauma, but it's just like.
Sure. But I mean, I think that it's oftentimes, like, you could see it as you could say it just like that. It could absolutely be generational trauma. It can be because I inherited this, you're going to inherit it.
Yeah.
And we're not doing that, not in Bear Vision. So I've had to learn that lesson in standing on business. Like, I had to stand on the fact that if somebody is getting disrespectful with a production assistant or with somebody below the line, yo, let me talk to you real quick. Yo, let me talk to you, bro. Because it's one thing if this person messed up, bro. But if you messed up, you would expect grace.
Yeah.
So if this person messes up, bro, give them grace. Now, if you lied, that's different.
Yeah.
But if you were just like, yo, I made a mistake, something happened, and they're like, oh, this guy's an idiot, get him out of here. Like, bro, you ain't got to do all that to this person, bro. Like, it's not even like that, bro. We don't got to do all of that. So I'm huge on respect.
Your moral compass is very right. Was there ever a situation that taught you empathy?
That taught me empathy on a film set? Sure. Okay. In my last project that I did, and I can't give too much information out because it ain't out yet, but on the last project, one of our lead talent was having a very emotional moment. And I felt like it wasn't the best to continue filming that moment. And so I just turned the camera away.
Yeah.
And she thanked me after that, because most times in most situations, they don't care. Like, is this thing, you are here to make sure that we get what we need out of the situation. They'd be like, raw emotion, great, get that. Just keep filming, keep rolling.
Feels a little exploiting a little bit.
And it's because these are still real people. Like, actors are still real people. And when they're experiencing those emotions, when they're going into those dark places, they have to also still be treated as humans. So if things are getting too hot, like, you know what, let's not film this.
Yeah.
Like, let's take a moment to just breathe. And I think just something as subtle as just like, you know, like, and we weren't rolling on a take or anything like that. Like, we were still like we were in the middle of a take and she was going, and, you know, like, we had called cut, and I was just like, yeah, I think I'm just going to turn this away because they're still people. Yeah. And we got to be more cognizant of how we treat people.
Wow. That was deep. Are you good, Fly? Okay. Wow. Let's see. What's the latest conversation that you've had personally or business-wise that has resonated with you?
The latest conversation that resonated with me.
Yeah. Business or personal? I
recently was affirmed in the things that we're talking about here through a conversation that I had with one of my mentors in Color Creative. And to hear that someone sees you and sees that you don't come from some of the backgrounds that other people come from, to know that you are everything that this program, you are everything that this opportunity is aligned to. Because I heard something that was, I'm a part of the Color Creative Find Your People program, which is an amazing opportunity for individuals that come from creative backgrounds or coming in from filmmaking spaces, and giving them the opportunities to produce a film from top to bottom. I was the director of photography, one of the inaugural cinematographers in that program. And there was a moment where I had to check myself. And I had to tell the person that made this comment that I was like, I had to check myself behind you because you were 100% right and my ego got in the way. And it made me feel a certain way. And she was just like, it wasn't meant for me. Like me telling you this was not meant to make you feel some type of way, but I'm glad it activated you, because you are what this opportunity is supposed to feel like. You're supposed to look like. You are the person that I look at and see that we're doing something right. That mentorship piece, that wanting to bet on yourself, wanting to risk it piece is something that I want all people that come into this program to be able to take from this program. So to hear those things and be affirmed that I'm doing my best and I'm actively trying and I'm investing in myself and I'm betting on myself and my dreams.
Yeah.
And to have somebody that's a mentor in this program be able to pour that back into me and say that I see you. And I want to see you continue to be a part of this and be active and be the leader, that you provide emotional intelligence to this program in a way that is so beautiful. And to affirm that in me, and that really did sit on my conscience, sit on my brain. I'm like, wow, that's very spiritually fulfilling to know that, you know, my God shows through my actions.
Yeah.
In my words.
That's some real stuff. Moving on to top 2. So you'll tell me like your top 2 of whatever I say. So
Okay.
Top 2 apps that you're usually using on your phone.
Top 2 apps that I use on my phone. That's a good one. That is a good one.
I'll say for me, what do I use? My notes.
Ooh.
And the calculator.
Okay. I use Google Drive and Dropbox. So I'll count those as like the same too.
Yeah.
Like Google Drive, those cloud storage ones, and probably Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram is where a lot of, you know, visibility happens for me and my business.
True.
So I use Instagram a lot, and I engage with that community in a good way.
And he's not afraid to read the comments, guys.
Show ain't. Drop the heat. Do it.
Top 2 books that have inspired you.
Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Fantastic. If you haven't picked it up, read it.
What about if you could pick one thing, or I don't know, a couple of things from that book that is just like, it was this principle or this quote?
So have you ever heard the the phrase, all warfare is based off deception?
No.
All warfare is based off of deception. How do you know that I am the person that I say that I am? Because it's the person that I present myself to be. So how does somebody, let's say, and Sun Tzu was a general. He was a strategist. He was one of the most prolific minds of warfare in his era. And he wrote these core philosophies about engagement in warfare with another general or with another strategist or with another individual. So it's like, how do you win a war? You can win a war before you even step foot on the battlefield. It's about understanding the conditions of war, understanding that humans go to war, understanding that ideologies go to war, understanding that you as an individual have the choices to make sure that your battle is already won before you step on the playing field. And he gives you so many broken down opportunities to look at his mind and to know that this philosopher had truly been able to decipher what it meant to go to war mentally and go to war like with the physical body and what the body needs and how to elevate one's chances to win by creating these core philosophies. So if it's an opportunity for you to read that book, Pick it up. It's fantastic. It's on Amazon. It's like $12.
I'm gonna purchase it.
Yep, it's like $12. And the second book was it's a book called The Myth of Race.
Oh.
It's a book called The Myth of Race, and the name of the author escapes me, but it talks about how racism was created.
Racism can kiss my ass.
And
Because I just kind of feel in my head, I just make it so simple that it's like no one says, or at least I don't think, no one says, oh, that red car drives faster than that yellow car. So it's like if objects, you know, if we can't really say, oh, this color object works better than that, why do that with people? We were talking about racism.
Yeah, racism sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can all agree there.
Yeah.
We can all agree there. Yeah.
Wait, did you say your second book?
Yeah, it's called The Myth of Race. The Myth
Oh,
of
yeah,
Race.
yeah.
So, but I don't remember, and I hope that there's like a moment where you could like put the book cover. I can send you the book cover once I get it, and it's like but it's such an interesting read because you never really understand the origin of something until somebody researches it. And I learned from that book that racism started with the Spanish Inquisition in the church.
Please continue.
So it's like, if you think about how people were dividing themselves before all of this, right? Like people were finding ways to divide themselves. So there were people that were born into a religion, and I believe it was Catholic. Like, I think that people were born Catholic, and then people that were, like, let's say, like, people that were converted to Catholic, like, people would consider them savages. Like, oh, you weren't a Catholic? Like, you're a savage. So they would make them wear certain articles of clothing, and that article identifier would be the reason why they couldn't get a job in certain places. Or, like, you couldn't be a member of the clergy or the member of the church at a level that other people were the member of the church because you weren't born Catholic, or you weren't born into this religion. So when you take that step further and step further and step further, now you're differentiating between those that weren't born into this religion but look like the part versus those that were going. And that's why missions, like people were going on missions to like Africa, going to the Congo, going to Nigeria on a mission. Their mission was to convert people to the religion. Like, so they were converting people, but then also they were creating subdivisions within those conversions. So now you have a group of people that are adopted into this or converted into this religion, and then now also having to deal with the fact that you're a savage, you're not at my level, I'm not at their level, so it creates a caste system all over again. And the world exists in caste, whether we choose to accept it or not.
I feel it's never going anywhere.
Yeah, it's never going anywhere. So it's just like people will find ways to differentiate themselves and make themselves ahead of the game because they don't have anything. So it's like all of the things that you're talking about are tangible things. It all had to do with money. People that have access to the money. If you have access to the money, then that means that you can make decisions with, like, you can make power decisions. So why would I give a group of people that I can easily be taking that power away from? If I can keep that power for the people that are in my small circle, then I will always remain in power.
Yeah.
So when you create subsections outside of the greater whole, so people were taking a religion, not agreeing with a piece of the religion, creating a new religion from that, and then starting their own power structure. So like there's one head, and then there's a group of people that are around them that control all of the power that comes into that, and the rest of it is congregation. And then there's people that are converted into the congregation, and then there's people that are extended networks from those congregations. Now they're separating people by color of skin, who they choose to love, what they choose to do on a regular basis. And all of those different differentiations have become what modern racism is today. And racism is more than just, I look at you and think that your skin is different, so I don't think that you're capable of doing things at the level of, there's power structures in place. So now as an opportunity, I don't give you this opportunity because I don't feel like I want people that look like you.
Wow.
And that differentiation started in the Spanish Inquisition.
And if they would just experience some ego death, then.
Yep. But people like that can't experience ego death.
Oh.
People like that can't.
Why?
People like that can't experience ego death because ego is what they are.
Oh my gosh.
Ego is what they are. Like if you were to strip away all of the stuff that comes with, oh well, you're black in America, you're white in America, you're insert demographic here in America, and it just came down to who you are as a person, then if we were to all decide that good people were the ones that were on top, then good
Yeah.
people would be the ones that are on top regardless of what they look like.
Yeah.
But like when you take away all of the identifiers and say like, oh, well, as a heteronormative African-American male with, a significant other and a dog, this is my identity and now I have a place in society. If you were to take away all of those things, I'm just BP Edwards. So if BP Edwards versus having a conversation with Tiffany Sage, if Tiffany Sage and BP Edwards were doing the exact same thing and Tiffany Sage was a better person than me, Tiffany Sage should have all the opportunity in the world. And that should be how the world is. But because of the powers that be don't believe in those opportunities, you have to be in a certain demographic. You have to look a certain way. You have to exist in certain bubbles in order for you to exist at the level that you would like to exist at. And even when you want to exist there, there's always going to be challenges for you there. There's always going to be challenges. So all you can do is exist and be the best you that you can be. And people that exist in racism, people that exist in that power structure are the ones that can't let it go because they're afraid that there are people that are actually good people that can do their job.
Oh my gosh. One, what a world it would be if it was the other way around, like only good people, like rise to the top. Two, I kind of want those people to like crumble. I just want like them to be, I don't know. I mean, it happens all the time where it's just like, oh, they're in the face of a X person and it's like, oh, this person, worse when that person has less than them, but they're still like, I'm here. What's up?
Right.
Like, it's like, whoa, why are you so bold and confident? You don't, have the money that I have or know the people that I know, but yet you are so sure of yourself.
Right. You can't have fear. And your mind automatically goes to, I'm so scared of falling over this pitfall that I'm not going to jump over it. And it's probably within your strength to jump over it, but you chose not to jump over it because you're scared of what could happen if you fall in.
Yeah.
So if you were to eliminate the thought that maybe you would fall in and be like, all right, I just got to make a jump across. Now you're jumping across those types of hurdles all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a completely, and then you got another hurdle that you got to be able to face. So I think that those people exist. Those people are there. But because they've been told that it's not their time, it's not their moment, all they're doing is existing in the systems and trying to fight it from within. Like if you want to beat the system, you got to join the system to go face the system, to break down the system. But the system is not made for people to break it down because the system exists with the people that it's acting like. So they're just going to find 5 or 6 people that are acting like they want to be in that system and can benefit from that system instead of finding 5 or 6 great people that would change the system, because why would they change it? They're in power.
And why did you like this book so much?
Because it broke down why it was a myth. Like, it's the myth of race. Race doesn't exist because we all come from the same genetic code.
Yeah.
We all come from a mother gene, a mother DNA. And I don't know how much research we've done into genealogy or stuff like that. But the mother gene exists with all of the DNAs of all the peoples across all the worlds. And diaspora happens. People move off. People have disagreements. People find different ways of living. People have ecosystems that they exist in. And then there's people that are born with deformities. And then they have to go into different places. And they create new ecosystems for themselves, and they create new lives, and etc. So people move into different regions. Then tectonic plates start shifting. Continents start breaking apart.
Smart.
But it's like, all of that stuff is a reality that happens in the world. Like, the world has existed for millions and millions of years, and all of that shift has created the separations that we have. Languages exist because people needed ways to communicate that other people would not be able to decipher because they wanted to keep their secrets. So it's like every language comes from a group of languages, and languages that are either quote unquote dead or just not available to speak in the public. Like, there's languages and books. There's written books that have languages that are associated with them. And in this book, it talks about language and how language wasn't taught to individuals that were in that lower caste system. Because if you were able to read through these things, you would know that what they were doing was wrong. So if I had the access to the information, and think about how equity works in America, right? If I had access to the information, then I would know that I could get a loan for this amount of money. And I know that I'd be able to leverage the credit based off of XYZ variables. And I would be able to use that to flip into a business and be able to create DUNS numbers and to create those different business entities, like the difference between a 501c3 and an LLC. Like knowing those different components of the business and knowing that paperwork is business. And if you had access to that information, you would be a better business person. And it doesn't matter how much school you have because it's all available. You can Google it.
Yeah.
But because they put it all in your face, it's so overwhelming that you don't know where to start. You go on Google right now and you type in something and you're like, best LLC website, you'll get 5 of them off rip and they're all paid for. Like someone paid advertisement to get their thing up first. It's called SEO, search engine optimization. So they're running the SEO on this and they're saying like, I am the best thing for this. If you pay me $69.99 plus tax, I will do all of your filing for you. But now you don't know what the filing says. You didn't do it. You don't have any access to working that system. They'll send you all the paperwork. All the paperwork's done, but you don't know the process.
Yeah.
So what is it? You give a man a fish and he'll thank you and he'll eat it. But if you teach a man to fish, he's never going to come to you again. Why sell the cow when you can sell the milk forever?
That part.
Why would I give somebody the access to do business at the level that I do business if I want them to do business for me?
Yeah.
So it's like, think about being an employee versus being a business owner. Why would I train people to be employees if I could train somebody to be an entrepreneur? And why would I train somebody to be an entrepreneur if I could train somebody to be an employee? So it's like, if you go to school has looked exactly the same since the 1960s, 50s, 40s. Like you go into a classroom, you sit, you learn, you raise your hand, you have to talk to a professional that was able to tell you that this is the right way of doing something. You get graded, you get compensated from that grade, and then you move on to the next grade all the way up until you have a basic level education so that you can go do paperwork at the low level. Or you can go flip burgers, or you can go do something that requires a one-to-one transaction, minimal thinking. I have to come in, do a thing to get a minimum wage. Like that is where a lot of people in the world live. And America is the worst education system in the world.
Yeah.
Of developed countries, we are the worst education. And that's on purpose because education is a business. Like schools are a business. Like think about it. How many people are going to a university, right? There's a hierarchy, there's a structure, there is a system that works for, like there's a president, there's a chancellor, or whatever that top one is. Everyone has a department head. Everybody has like a list of humans that are under that, and you can't go and talk to the head. I'm going to talk to the president of the institution. And then there's going to be a day where you are someone that is unreachable. Like, let's be real. Like, there's going to be a point where you're like, I don't want to have every conversation with every person that comes through this door. So I now have an assistant that fields those conversations for me.
Right.
So that in itself creates the existing structure all over again. So we, as individuals that are here right now, understanding that these are the realistic endeavors that life has to go on so that we can continue to do business. The system is the system because the system is. It does not exist outside of the bubble that we exist in. So when you step out of that bubble and see that there's a new way of doing business, your mind has changed. Oh my God. You mean to tell me it was that easy to go to the, the Secretary of State to file an LLC and it didn't even cost that much, bro? Like I'm over here paying $300, $400 for somebody to do something that literally takes me a file submission and an email.
Yeah.
So it's just like, dang, bro, that's it?
Yeah.
Like that's all it was? Why is it so hard for me to learn this information? Because they made it hard. They made it hard. That's why AI and ChatGPT and all these things are the next wave, because if you prompt ChatGPT right, it'll show you everything that you need to know. Whether you choose to do it or not is your business.
Yeah.
You're not worried about if you're finding a paid person versus a SEO, whatever. Like, no, they're giving you the actual information based off of databases because it's taking what's already there and just streamlining the process.
Yeah.
And it's free. ChatGPT is free. It is so fast at what it does that it is like it's ridiculous, right? Like it's almost sad how many jobs it's going to ruin. Like how many things that we thought that we needed in this, like, oh, I need somebody that's going to be able to understand the statutes of limitations in the state of California for doing business. Hey, ChatGPT, what are the statutes of limitations for a California business as it relates to 5 seconds? Something that you're paying somebody hundreds of thousands of dollars to do
Wow.
is done in 5 seconds. And all you have to do is prompt it correctly. You just got to ask it the right question.
Right questions, which circles back to, sorry.
Go
I
for
feel
it.
like I'm getting passionate. When you said earlier about how you'd ask God for certain things.
Come
it's
on.
The ask.
Come on. And it's just like, we are created in God's image. I'm going to take you on a journey.
Mm-hmm.
We are all created in God's image. And we in ourselves have created. So what do we create once creation is over?
Wow.
What does humanity create once creation is over? We've created all the things.
Mm-hmm.
You create life.
Okay.
You create a new life form, a new method of living, a new style of living. And we're taking everything that Google did and made it an interactable experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's artificial intelligence. Nothing's artificial about it. It's just taking what references already exist and compiling them at a speed that's quicker than anything else in the world. Like, technology operates in a way that it becomes 2 times faster and 2 times smaller every year. Every year.
Wow.
So now we're looking at systems that we can type in a prompt to a question, and it will answer that question to a depth that we were paying people $100,000 plus per year to do. We are in the age of change. We are approaching the deadline for all the creation that we've already created. So like humans can create systems and railroads and aqueducts and submarines and battleships and armories and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when they're done, what are we creating? A way to get our time back.
Yeah.
And a way that we get our time back is by creating databases that we can interact with that will give us all of the information that we ask for without having to search for it, and then having that be automated. So now we can talk one-to-one. Hey, Siri, what can I do to do this? And Siri will query that and go find you the results yourself. Now imagine if that was how your home is. Alexa, turn on the lights in my
Smart
house.
Yeah.
Alexa, make sure that I have an alarm set for this time, and Alexa will do it. Things that people were paying for
Yeah.
are now something that's at the consumer level. So now when it becomes a standard of living for everybody, like the iPhone, like Steve Jobs cooked
Yeah.
when he did that iPhone thing, because now there's people that won't even text you if you got green bubbles.
Oh my God.
It's so OD, but let's be real. Like, there's people that will not talk to you if your bubbles are green. So now you're creating an additional cast in the system.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Everything is
bro.
like all
Interconnected.
looped together. That
Interconnected.
top 2 mental health practices.
Meditation and conversation.
I love it. Top 2 pieces of advice that have helped shape you. And it could be even advice that you told yourself or like you discovered yourself.
An object in motion stays in motion. An object at rest remains at rest.
Oh.
An object in motion stays in motion. An object at rest stays at rest. And know your personnel. Those are the 2 pieces.
Ooh. That motion one. That's funny. I was saying that to myself this evening when I was getting ready to come here. I forgot what I was thinking about, but I was like, oh, I know what it was. I had gone through something 2 days ago with my business, and I was like, okay, that's happening, but guess what? There's other things that you need that needs your attention, and you can't stay stuck over here. So stay in motion.
Right.
Wow.
2
benefits of being an entrepreneur.
Time and energy.
Oh, I love that. You want to expound on that?
Time is time. You can't get it back.
Yeah.
There are times that, and it's so good to think about it too, because I've never had to answer this question, but that time piece, when I get to wake up in the morning and I get to choose my day, like there are certain things that I do every morning. Like I'll wake up in the morning, I go to the gym. I wake up in the morning and I make we got an espresso maker at the crib. So I'll like go through and do like the meticulous process of making a great espresso, stuff like that. And it's the things that I'm not running out the door and having to grab my keys and go, oh my God, I'm going to be late for work. Like I'm not frantic in the morning. I wake up and have peace. I have time again. And it's like when you're a kid, you wake up on a Saturday morning and you're just like, oh, okay, I can wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
But then during the week, you're training yourself to have to go to a 9 to 5 because you have to go to school at 8 in the morning. So it's like the things that you learn when you're unlearning that training about yourself, only time can give you that back. and then the energy that you can reinvest into yourself by not having to deal with Eurocentric politics.
Yeah.
Like Eurocentric business politics is having to show up on time and having to do the, hey, we're in the coffee room. How was your weekend? We don't have to do that. Like we don't have to do any of those things. I get to work from the comfort of my home on projects that I want to work on with people that I want to work with. And I ultimately have the energy to give of my best self because I am the business owner.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk to me, you're talking to the owner. So if you don't like the way that the owner is talking, well, you don't have to do business here.
Yeah.
And I'm not representing anything other than myself. I have the right to refuse service. And that puts so much energy back into my life that I now don't have to worry about if this person is going to do right by me in business. Because I already know that you're not going to do right by me in business. So I don't have to go, hey, supervisor, I don't think that this guy is going to do right by me in business. Oh, well, you're going to have to do what's right for the institution.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do what's right for the business. I don't have to do that anymore.
Wow.
I get my energy back. I'm reclaiming my time.
I'm proud of you. Moving on to essence, what do you love most about yourself?
I love the fact that I can look at myself in the mirror and be happy with what I see. I love the fact that I can do something that a lot of people would be afraid to do and still look at myself in the mirror and be like, you killed that today.
Yeah.
You did that, bro. Good on you. And it took India to tell me one day, like, yo, do you ever just give yourself credit? Like, you ever give yourself that grace? And for a long time, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I got to figure out what's next. I got to figure out my next opportunity, my next job. It was like, bro, just exist in this one.
What was that stemming from?
The loss of having a consistent paycheck at the start of every month.
Okay. Yeah.
Bro, and I'm saying it's like, so if you an entrepreneur, you gonna see one day that you gonna look up and you gonna be like, dang, I ain't got no work right now. That money is not coming in. There is no bag coming into my account right now.
Yeah.
I got the moment I get on the next project, I gotta start cooking for my next project. I could never enjoy truly being in the project until this one right here.
And then do you feel like when you were like, I guess, in that state of gratitude and like, you know what? Gratitude for the opportunity that you're in currently, and then just being proud of yourself that the next bag would just naturally come.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's like when you know that you in here cooking, there's nothing that's gonna spoil your broth. Like you in here cooking.
Your analogies are good.
Come on.
Yeah.
I live in analogies too. Like,
too.
you know, like I live in analogies. I'm gonna get you there. We gonna have a story associated with it, but it's gonna get there. But yeah, can't nothing spoil your broth when you cooking.
Wow. On to, in the last section,
Okay.
fun stuff. What on you do you take the most care of?
What on you do I take the most? Like physically, like
It could be, or
you already know what I'm finna say.
your relationship with God.
Come on now,
Okay.
come on. We talk about it here. We talk about it. It's too easy. It's too easy.
What are you OCD about?
I'm very OCD about my communication with God. And I'm sorry, that's my sound. I'm OCD about it, bro. I gotta do it when I want to do it. I gotta do it regardless of what the situation. And you know what? In a more like physical sense, it's Duolingo.
Oh.
Yep, yo practicar español todos los días.
Poquito.
Caught it.
It's almost.
Yep.
Wait.
I have been
I
practicing.
feel like she's like, I can't stand anymore. It's okay, baby. 1 second.
I have been doing Duolingo for 900 days.
Get out. What language?
Spanish.
Get out. Okay.
Practicar español todos los días. Yep.
Wow.
Yo practico, yo practicar, whatever you want to
Wow,
call it. But
yeah,
I do it
yeah.
every day, and I have to do it every day. When I don't do it, I'm pissed.
Because you feel
I'm
like
sick.
what?
Because you have these streaks that you go on.
I had
And
a
if you-
notification. It said, it was like,
It's-
what did it say? It said, oh, you don't want to do a little practice? I mean, you have 2 days streak. I'm just saying. I'm like, what the hell?
Bro, now imagine the stakes once you're at 900.
Wow.
900. And this is like, yo, bro, if I don't do this Duolingo, like there'll be times that I'm out with the homies. Like,
And you're doing
yeah,
it.
like, no, So BS you not.
Yeah.
I was out with Rex the other day,
Uh-huh.
and we went to some other podcasting that he was on, and I was outside, and it was like 9 something. We were outside, and everybody was about to go in. I was just like, hold on, yo, I got to do my Duolingo. And I sat there before we went in and did my Duolingo right then and there.
And how long are you on it for?
10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
But it's every day, and I cannot miss it.
Wow.
Every day.
And do you feel that it has really improved your?
There are jobs that I'm on that I will say things in Spanish to like some of the people that are there,
Stop.
and they will appreciate that so much.
Wow.
Because like, and I was working on a Food Network on the Christmas Cookie Challenge, and there was a guy that was working in the catering section for that, and they were Spanish speaking. And every day I would go in there and be like, maestro,
Yeah.
like you know, like he's my teacher. Like I would approach him as like a teacher. It was just like, you know, what are you teaching me today? Like, and he was just like, my friend, you know, you speak to me in Spanish. You like, you remind me of like, you know, you remind me of my like son. Like he was like, because I'm not great at it, but I'm learning it every day because I understand the value of communication.
Yeah.
And if there is a way that you can communicate with somebody to make them feel like their belonging is there.
It does a lot.
It does a lot. It does a lot. So he was teaching me words. He would teach me, you know, like, oh, your phrasing is off right there. And I'm like, okay, because, you know, the Spanish that you learn on Duolingo is not functional Spanish. It's textbook Spanish.
Yeah.
So like when you're speaking it to somebody, they be like, oh, well, you're very like literal. Like you're very literally correct. But I have to do it every day because I need to know more languages. So my next one is going to be French. I started French, but I never like finished.
I was going to say, what's this day streak on that one?
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't even start French yet, but I took French in high school. So
I have way too many. Like I have Spanish, French, just started Portuguese.
Ooh, come on.
Yeah, so I can do a little, but I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's finish it off with, what would you like to say or ask your future self?
That's so funny. I just literally had this conversation with one of my mentors the other day. I want to ask my future self, did we have fun on the way?
Oh, I like that.
Because there's a lot of moments where I'm like, this is not fun. This is like following your dreams is not fun. Like prior to popular belief, when we're outside having to go do the outside thing, it is not fun.
Yeah.
We do not have days that are without having that purpose in mind, you know? And it's like, if you are on the entrepreneurial endeavor and you are having to actively think about what your life is going to look like if you misstep once, like that walk blind faith thing is so real, especially when you believe in yourself.
Wow.
So it's like to be at my future self, whatever that person is, if he's an award-winning Academy or whatever EGOT winner, if he's a cinematographer through and through, pure, only doing the behind the camera work, or if it's a completely different work system entirely, was it fun? Did we have a good time on the way out? If we had a good time, I ain't mad. I'm not mad at all. Once it's ready to give it up, I'll give it up. But right now, we having a good time doing it.
And I'm having a good time listening.
Come on.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. BP, thank you so much. BP and family. Your pup is so like well behaved.
Shout out my boy Kilo. He is a rescue. Wow. We rescued him 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know, we're he's warming up. He's our special boy.
I was gonna say, does he have behavioral issues?
You know, we learn something new every day. Okay. We learn something new every day. He done did some interesting, like, what was the last one, baby? It was like she had kissed me while I was sitting on the floor, and he was like, "Don't do that." Like he was like, "Bro, but okay, he know he talking about him, huh?" It's like, but he had like bucked up at her for showing me some love. And I was like, wow, bro. I was like, dang, the homie get jealous real quick.
Wow.
All right, that's cool. But, you know, he's learning. So I'm thinking that he's a different dog every day. So,
shoot.
Yeah. And he sleep a lot. So this is his normal position.
He was very well behaved.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out my boy. Shout out my girl. Love you.
I love it. Thank you so much, man. This was awesome.